Hello and welcome to another video, probably quite a long one considering we are talking about my Sonic collection today. This is the single largest collection I have on any series, and I mean any series, because I am a big fan of Mr. Sonic T Hedgehog. I guess I'll start with that. That's the LEGO Dimensions figure. I haven't actually played the DLC, but I paid a bit for the set. I need to kind of get the game on a system that has actual internet connection, because my only copy is on the Wii U, and that's now dead, so I can't actually download the stuff to use Mr. the Hog 4. Though, speaking of Nintendo, little Sonic Amiibo, quite a big fan of that. It's pretty good. Doesn't go with any games. Still stupidly expensive. No idea why. Moving on to the games though, I'm going to kind of do this chronologically, kind of era. So, kind of starting from Mega Drive going downwards. And we'll see where we go. Speaking of, I'll start with the first game. Sonic T Hedgehog. It's the first game. I mean, it's a classic. It's a pioneer of Sega at their height before all the other terrible stuff that happened from their awful business practices that led to their decline from the console market into third party, and that's been a mixed bag, let's be fair, the last 23 years. Anyway, the first one's fine. It hasn't aged particularly well as far as I'm concerned. I prefer 2. I think 2 is a more concise game. Introduces Tails for the first time. Not my go-to character, but certainly fine. Bit of trivia for you, because I've also got Mean Bean Machine. As you can see on there, his eyes are red and black. That extended into the Sonic Sat AM show, which I think was running concurrently with The Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, and they were both voiced by Jaquil White, if I remember correctly. Anyway, on the Sonic 2 one, Eggman's eyes come across as black, so they just assumed that wasn't glasses. They assumed it was his actual eyes, so that's why this kind of air of Robotnik from the Sat AM cartoon kind of looks like that. If you found that interesting, just let me know. But yeah, I like 2 a lot more. I think it's more concise. I think it's more exciting in the grand scheme of things. I think it's better designed, and I don't know. It's just, you know, introduce the spin dash. Who doesn't like a spin dash? Moving on, technically, chronologically, in terms of how the games play out. Sonic CD. This is a very good game, strictly because it introduces my favourite Sonic character that isn't Sonic or Eggman. Metal Sonic. I'll be honest with you, I kind of wish the upcoming third Sonic movie had that as a focus. Had Metal Sonic instead. I know it won't. Actually, it may. It may. If it does, great. But I've heard tell it's going to have more in line with Adventure 2, which is good, and Shadow the Hedgehog. We'll get to that. But yeah, CD kind of introduces one of my favourite recurring antagonists in the form of Metal Sonic. I've even got like a little toy of the bugger. Just, yeah. I like him a lot. He's Sonic's best rival, largely because Shadow isn't a rival. Knuckles isn't really anymore either. More so in Frontiers, less so in every other Sonic game for 20 years. So yeah, moving on. Sonic 3. I really hate the box art for Sonic 3 in Europe. It is horrible. It's horrible. Largely because it makes it look like it's Sonic 4. So, you know. But it introduces Knuckles, as did Sonic and Knuckles, and if you can believe it in this age of everybody knows this if they've owned the Mega Drive, you can Frankenstein it together to make one complete game. You can even plug this into Sonic 2 and it will play, and you can play as Knuckles through it, I believe, which is pretty cool. Sonic and Knuckles, again, solid game. More basically, plug it into here, and you've got the full experience of what Sonic 3 really, really should have been. The final game on the Mega Drive that I actually have, I don't think there are any others. Not unless somebody's ported Sonic Triple Trouble, that new fan project, which looks very good. Frame Rater talked about it, and I watched his whole video on it. It looks bloody fantastic. Anyway, Sonic Spinball is not amazing. It's got 4 levels. They're all stupidly long for pinball levels, and I just don't like pinball games. Unfortunately, they started that bloody trend in Sonic where you have to have pinball in freaking every level, which is fine and definitely not a pain in the ass. Never mind. I did point this out earlier, but Mean Bean Machine, fun reference to that in the movie with Dr. Robotnik's coffee shop. It's just kind of a Puyo Puyo clone, but not very good. It's kind of a bog standard game, but it's the only one with Dr. Robotnik actually named on it. So, had to kind of own it, didn't I? Also, that era, Sonic 1 and 2 on the Game Gear. Do not play them on this. That's not the way to play Sonic 1 and 2. Just play them on the Mega Drive if you have one, or otherwise. Yeah. Although, speaking of the Master System clones, don't play them on Master System either. Just play them on the Mega Drive. That's where they were meant to be played. That being said, Sonic 1 isn't bad. Sonic 2 isn't either. They're not terrible, but they're not the Mega Drive. Let's put it that way. There were other games. I'm missing a few. I'm missing a fair few on the Mega Drive, actually. They're ones I'm going to pick up as time goes on, strictly because I'm insane and I will own every Sonic game if it kills me. But Sonic the Hedgehog Chaos. I'll be honest with you, I don't know too much about this. I know that you can play as Tails as well, which is nice. It's kind of a Sonic 2 continuation, but it kind of suffers from a lot of the problems that make Master System Sonic really inferior. They are just D-Mix for all intents and purposes. But this was kind of Sonic's height. The classic era was Sonic's height. It's where Sonic was arguably at his most popular initially. Nowadays, he's got 2 successful movies, an upcoming Knuckles mini-series, which is insane to me. Really hoping Jim Carrey comes back for the 3rd movie. And just, yeah. We unfortunately then started the massive downwards decline of Sonic, which was Sonic 3D. Now, Sonic 3D isn't a terrible game, but it's not a good game. This is not what the Saturn needed. It needed a big Sonic game. It needed a big, brand new, spanking good Sonic game that's going to be what drew everyone in. And they didn't have that. Instead, Sega went, let's make a bunch of brand new IP and launch it on that. Admittedly, we got the beauty that is Panzer Dragoon, but not having that Sonic game at launch, bad idea. There was Sonic Extreme, and I know that there is a fan project out there kind of working on it. They're working on finishing the game, which is pretty insane and pretty cool, and definitely will be something that I 100% get when it eventually comes out. But yeah, the thing is, we had views of what a Sonic 3D game could be with Sonic Jam, which is just a compilation of the first 3 games, including Knuckles, and it has a sort of 3D Sonic environment where you can run around and jump on stuff, and it controls crazy well, but that glimmer was kind of lost. I know that Sonic Adventure 1 was in development for the Saturn initially, but yeah, the only 3D Saturn Sonic game we got was and I'm not the only person to say this. I freaking love R. The best way to play it is the Sonic Gems Collection release. But, you know, the classic's fine. Ooh, wobbled my camera. That's professional. That's professional for the YouTubes. Sonic R's fun. It's got terrible music. It controls like garbage, but it's stupid. And that's what's just so bloody entertaining about it. Unfortunately, that was kind of Sonic's last run. Or led into Sonic's last run of what people consider to be good Sonic games for a very long time. Sonic Adventure 1. I mean, multiple playable characters, some of which are terrible. Looking at you, giant, stupid, fishing cat. Some of them were amazing, like playing as Knuckles. Tails's weren't great. Amy's weren't great. Gamma's was pretty fun. And, you know, yeah. It's a solid game, but 2 is the best one. Adventure 2 is the best Sonic game. For me. It's the best Sonic game for me. I mean, I didn't have to own the Dreamcast version. I played the Dreamcast version. I bought it for like 40 quid. God, when did I buy that? A few years ago. About 5 years ago. 40 quid 5 years ago, and you know what? I haven't played it once. But I don't care. Because it's my absolute favourite Sonic game. I've owned it on Steam. I own it on 360. I've got multiple Chow saves. I've never been able to get that bloody Knight's Chow outside of stealing it from a friend of mine. By copying his data onto my memory stick. For the GameCube. But just, yeah. It's the best Sonic game. And you know what? I'm going to talk about it more. I'm going to talk about it more. Because we get to 6th gen. Which technically, yes, Dreamcast is 6th gen. But we got DX. Which was Sonic Adventure, obviously, 1. But it's not the best port. There are better ports out there. It kind of is very janky. If you're going to play it nowadays, I'd say get the Dreamcast collection on 360 or get it on Steam. Because it's not very good. That being said, I should really save this, but Sonic Adventure 2. Lots of people my age grew up with Crash Bandicoot, or they grew up with Super Mario 64, or they grew up with Spyro the Dragon. I grew up with this. This was my kind of quintessential 3D platformer, you know? This was what I went to play by myself, up in my parents' room, just on the GameCube, because that's where it was for some reason. I don't really know why it was in their room, but here we are. Just play Sonic Adventure 2, and you know what? I own that GameCube with my sister. This was the only game that I flat out pilfered. This was flat out just, I went, this one's my one. This is the game I got on the GameCube, as far as I'm concerned. And it's so freaking good. I can go back to it endlessly. And I'm still finding new stuff in that. I'm still finding out about new stuff in that. Like the whole weird dev room thing that I saw on a video like 4 weeks ago, about a month ago. You find out about a complete dev test chamber in a game that you've been playing for over 20 years. It's just, I love that game. I love that game, and I would die on a hill saying that is the best Sonic game in general to me, and it's the best Sonic game. It's the one that kickstarted my love of this franchise. I mean, I went out of my way to get Mega Collection. I don't think Mega Collection is the best collection out there. It is the only one, as far as I'm aware, with 3D. Not 3D Blast, Sonic 3D. Very different. And Sonic Blast, again, is also a very different game on the Master System. Just no idea. I think that's the last Mega Drive game that I don't actually own, to be honest. But I've got 3D Blast anyway. Flicky's Island, what's the point? I did mention earlier that I loved Sonic R. I also love Sonic the Fighters, and I loved Sonic CD, so how could I not get Sonic Gems Collection? It's 2 very bad games and one very good one on a compilation disc with a bunch of really crappy Game Gear games as they tend to throw on to these bloody discs. But Sonic the Fighters for a fighting game, every time I have people over and we're playing games, I drag this out just to play Sonic R and just to play Sonic the Fighters, because it's stupid. It's asinine, it's ridiculous, but it is so much fun. It's just really, really stupid. Unfortunately, that was kind of the peak of the series for quite a while. Then we started to get into kind of dips. I don't think that that Sonic Heroes is a bad game, but you have to bear in mind this was actually the first game I opened for my original Xbox when I got it for Christmas in 2005. I was a bit of a late bloomer on the original Xbox. Not anymore. It's still my biggest collection, and I've cleaved through that thing pretty severely to remove a lot of the chuff. But this was the first Sonic game I actually owned. It's fine. It's not very good. I like Omega. I liked the new characters they introduced. I think bringing back Chaotix was interesting. That is I'll get to the Sonic games I want to get down the line. But yeah. I don't know. It's just a fun. It's fun, but it's not Adventure 2, and I think that was its problem. Then we got Shadow the Hedgehog, and I'll be brutally honest with you when I say it's really very bad. It's terrible. It's terrible, but I don't think it's the worst Sonic game. We'll get to that. In fact, we won't get to that. We won't get to that at all. There will be a story, however. Shadow's fine. I bought this for like £3, maybe like 15 years ago, and it's fine. It's okay. I've never beaten it. I never will. But I can go back to it occasionally and play it, and it's fine. I kind of wish we got more playable Shadow in stuff nowadays, but I don't know if we're ever going to. It'd be nice if in like Sonic Frontiers 2 or Sonic Adventure 3, as they're kind of teasing for the next one, if we got new playable Shadow, but we'll see. Another copy of Mega Collection, because why not? It's all the same games, really. It's not very good. Well, not the best compilation. That's still Gems Collection, maybe Origins. A game that I am not great at, not particularly fond of, and just find extraordinarily annoying. Sonic Riders. This kind of spawned a little mini trilogy of games. I still don't have the one. Actually, I don't have the one on Wii. I should get that. I should definitely get that. Anyway, because that one's better and more accessible. This was just kind of annoying to play. It was annoying to play. It's got a very steep learning curve. It's basically if you took Sonic, combined it with F-Zero, and stuck him on a hoverboard. And it sucks for it. Not a fan of that game. There were a couple handheld games around this time. One of the more interesting ones I'll get to in a minute. But these were the two Sonic Rivals games for the PSP. They're okay. They're kind of like more multiplayer orientated. It's weird that Rouge is playable in a game called Sonic Rivals. She shouldn't be really, because she's not a rival. Then again, to be fair, nor is Tails. Oh well. Just a lot of odd multiple playable characters. Silver in, I'm going to say, his third and only playable appearance outside of Team Sonic Racing, which was interesting. I don't hate Silver. He's not the most compelling character, but because he's literally in the development they just went, he's Trunks from Dragon Ball Z. Fine. Whatever. The Cell Saga is easily the best saga. We all know that if we've watched Team 4 Star. We know that. If you've seen it, if you haven't, go freaking watch it. Dragon Ball Z Abridged is better than the original series. But then we started getting into 7th Gen, and this was where For the most part, Sonic died. For a very, very long time. I don't have it. Oh no, I skipped a DS game. Sonic Chronicles. It's a BioWare Sonic RPG that is so insanely forgettable in that respect, and bad, and just the music is terrible and it's just not fun, but it's such an oddity, I kind of had to own it. But that is the point, though. This was an era where Sonic took a nosedive. Straight off a cliff. Start with 06. I don't have 06 anymore. I had it earlier this year, then I made the mistake of playing it again. So I flat out destroyed the disc. I flat out destroyed it. I loathe that game with an ever-burning passion. It is unplayable. It is unplayable in every sense of the word, which is why Project P06 really has my attention, and I really hope Sega get their grubby little mitts on it, go, this will do, and release it on actual systems. I don't mean that PC isn't a system, but I mean like an official release. Official platforms, stuff like that. That would be great. And pay the guy. It's the single best fan project for Sonic out there. It's taking the absolute nosedive of his career, the single worst game in terms of bugs and in terms of unplayability, and fixing it and making it playable. And I'm really hoping he edits that cutscene where Elise kisses him on the lips, because she's human and he is a anthropomorphic 16-year-old hedgehog. What the fuck are you doing? Don't know what they were thinking. That game needed another year in the oven. Could have been Sonic 07, but here we are. That being said, we then moved on to Sonic Unleashed. Sonic Unleashed is as far as I'm aware, polarizing game. It's as polarizing as you know. Anyway, you play as Sonic. He gets infected with energy that from an entity called Dark Gaia that allows him to turn into a werehog. It's unintentional, but in the process, you get extremely fun daytime levels that are crazy fast and crazy energetic, and just some of the absolute best the Boost formula ever had. And I'm not a fan of the Boost formula at all. Outside of one of the following games, but we'll get to that. Then you get the werehog levels, which are slow and clunky and irritating and not fun, and there's too many enemies and they don't die fast enough, and just... After 06, this was one step in the right direction, about 15 steps back. That being said, it still has the single best looking cutscene in any freaking Sonic game, and that is the opening. It is just an absolute fucking masterclass. Like, honestly, the guys behind that should have won some kind of award, and I would die on that hill. I'd definitely die on that hill. Around this time, there were two other Sonic games that weren't as good. Sort of followed the Boost formula to a degree. What are they calling it? Storybook? The Storybook series, which had two whole games in the form of Sonic and the Secret Rings and Sonic and the Black Knight. I think Sonic and the Secret Rings is not very good. I think it is awkward, annoying, and clunky, much like 06, much like the nighttime levels of Unleashed, much like Shadow, much like... That's the problem with being a Sonic fan, isn't it? That's the problem with being a Sonic fan. You spend so long wanting really good games, and you kind of get either mediocrity, really weird stuff, like Sonic Drift 2, which wasn't even called Drift 2 over here. It was just called Sonic Drift in the UK, because Drift 1 never came out. Just, yeah, you know, an awkward awkward little game with some really stellar acting from the guy who voices Sonic at the time, but awkward, irritating, crappy gameplay that was improved upon with Black Knight. And, you know, give Sonic a sword more often. I think it will be a lot of fun. I think that there's some interesting stuff in here, but I don't think it's good enough. That's where we get to what many people consider to be the start of Sonic's kind of a pseudo-renaissance. I don't think that this was a real step in the right direction. That was Sonic Colors. Largely because it started the unfortunate trend of using these things, which are called wisps. They basically give you, like, superpowers. They're power-ups, similar to Mario games, but they suck, and they have to worm in these aliens into the plot of a multitude of other games that are just equally as annoying. This game is fine. It's kind of the last major Sonic title that had multiplayer outside of a certain one we will get to on the Wii U. But, yeah. A lot of people will go, Colors is great. I don't disagree. But I don't think it's the return to form that Sonic needed. That came in the form of Sonic Generations, which was the celebration of Sonic's 20th anniversary, fully playable in 3D, thank you, FAD technology, that released in 2011. I love this game. I do. I genuinely do. I think it's the best the Boost formula had. That being said, I didn't play half of the game. I don't play half of the game if I can help it. I don't play the classic levels because the physics are slightly off on classic Sonic, and if push comes to shove, I'm not going to play a classic version of City Escape. I'm going to play an actual 3D version of City Escape because that's the best way to play it. I just kind of wish we got more than 9 whole levels. But this was, for the longest time, my second favourite Sonic game after, obviously, Adventure 2. Because it's good. It's solid. And the music's fantastic. The remixes are great. The boss fights are actually not crap. The fact there's only one for classic Sonic is a bit odd, but what are you gonna do? We'll get to those in there. You want to know the worst Sonic game? It's not 06. It's not Rise of Lyric. Sonic Free Riders. I do mean it when I say I want to get the second game in this series on the Wii, because apparently it's more approachable. Apparently it's quite easy. But I'm looking for something that's just kind of fun. I don't think I have it. I'll have to root through, but I'm fairly certain I don't. This, though, they decided, hey, let's take a Sonic skateboarding game. A Sonic jetboarding game. And remove the controller. Great. Fantastic. Don't remove the controller. And shove it with Kinect. I bought Kinect for £2.50. I bought this for like a £5, just because I wanted to own every Sonic game. I played it for 5 minutes. It is unplayable. Don't play it. Bad game. There were better racing games, though. These bring an absolute smile to my face. Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing with Banjo-Kazooie, and Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed. Both have their ups, and I'd say they both have their downs. This had a better unlock system. You just raced and you earned coins, and then you could buy different characters, including Banjo-Kazooie. And you could race on every track with whatever music you wanted, so naturally, Sonic can't do that here. You have to unlock every character manually, which is a bit of a pain in the ass. I liked being able to choose who I unlocked. I still haven't unlocked Big the Cat on the first one, because he can sod off, he's a twat. He's a twat. Those are really solid racing games. Really solid, to the point where I even bought it on Wii U. The Wii U had 3 exclusive Sonic games. Well, they were exclusive. One isn't anymore. You can buy it on Steam, of all things. Those were Sonic Lost World. Now, this was the last mainline Sonic game with multiplayer. It's an interesting experiment. It's literally Sonic Galaxy, and it's fine. It's fine. It's not great, to be fair. It's weird, because you'll go through phases of, this is really boring in Sonic Lost World. This is very, very dull. Oh, look, a mechanic that lasts way too frickin' long. Then you have really fun stuff like running up walls, and, you know, I even got this special edition because it has, like, an exclusive level. Admittedly, this was the only physical edition, but whatever. It's fine. It added some interesting levels, like there's a Hyrule one, I think there was a Mario one, and there was a Knights one. The Knights one is very good. Especially got that down, actually. Got Knights. But no. Then we go on to the 3rd worst Sonic game of all time. Sonic Boom! Don't play it. No. It's okay. It's simply okay. It's not a very good... It's not finished. It's broken as hell. But you know what? The cartoon was just so freaking damn charming. I can't actually hate that game. I can't. It's tied into... debatably the 2nd best Sonic cartoon ever. Sat AM. Yeah, it's great. Boom. Maybe Prime. X. Maybe. Yeah, X. And I'm going to be controversial here. Underground. Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. Really, really bad. Really, really, really bad. Awful. Stupid in it, but charming in its own way, I guess. And that's my very quick review of all of the Sonic. We're nearly done, I swear. We're nearly finished. These are all on Switch, and it's kind of an odd time here for Sonic. We got the absolute nosedive that was Sonic Forces. Sonic Forces is a really freaking bad game. It's a really freaking bad game. Its levels are way too short. It's got a really interesting premise that builds on SAT-AM, and I think that's what got everyone initially excited. It's got multiple playable characters. You can play as Sonic, Shadow for a grand total of 3 levels, which... yay! And the Avatar, which naturally I made into a really scary serial killer looking bird. This was not what Sonic needed. Especially when that same year we got Sonic Mania. Now, I have said I'm not the biggest Sonic Mania fan. I wasn't at the time. I do want to get more into it. It's fine. I mean, hell, I bought Ray on a little figure for Ray. Oh no, Mighty, sorry. Ray is the flying squirrel. Bought Mighty the armadillo. I might get Ray, actually. But I don't see the point, he's just basically Tails. Anyway. Yeah. Sonic Mania was really what Sonic needed. It needed that kick up the ass from being mediocre, bad, mediocre, bad, mediocre, good, mediocre, bad. Just, you know, it really needed a kick up the jacksie, and this was a step in the right direction. Then we got nothing. We got nothing for, like, a very long time. Forces and Mania came out in 2017. All we had in between then was, well, quite frankly, a massively inferior follow-up to the Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing series, where they basically went, right, Sonic Heroes, but a racing game. Okay, is Knuckles Chaotix in it? Are the Chaotix in it? No. It's just Vector, Shadow, Silver, and Blaze. That's it. Why? You could have had, like, that weird little Aquamarine... What's her name, Aquamarine? The raccoon from Sonic Rush and Sonic Rush Adventure. That. Could have had her. She could have been... Anyway. That's all we got. That's all we got for like 3 years. But then we got a Sonic movie. And then we got a second Sonic movie. And then we got what I'm going to blanketly just tar with the brush as the second best 3D Sonic game I have ever played. Yep, even over generations. I'm kind of leaning more that way because they're still updating it, and I am really, really looking forward to that new update. Ian Flynn, who is the current writer for this, and I'm hoping pretty much any Sonic game going forward because the guy knows his stuff. This is full of references. It's for Sonic's 30th anniversary, and considering 06 tarred the series with such a colossal brush of crap for such a long time, it made like that was Sonic's 15th birthday. This was his 30th, and you know what? It's bloody fucking good. It is very, very good. Some of its boss fights I find a bit annoying. More so just because suddenly the controls shift completely into Supersonic and I'm like, I'm not used to it, I'm not ready. But that being said, the last boss is a chump. But it's just very, very, very fun. And it added the Sonic birthday update literally last week, and I played a bit of it, and it's wonderfully stupid. Still haven't found City Escape to listen to across my travels through the Starfall Islands, but I will find it. That leads us up to the most recent release for me, at any rate, which was this. I did talk about Sonic Origins Plus and how much of a pain in the arse it was to get in my pickups video last week, but I've had time to play this now, and it's a lot of fun. It's going back to those classic games and just giving them a bit of new life. You know, adding in those very cool animated cut scenes that are really reminiscent of Sonic CD. Adding in playable Amy, which is just great. And you know, it's a freaking good time to be a Sonic fan. Sonic Frontiers, Sonic Origins, we've got Sonic Superstars coming out later this year, and it just looks very cool and very exciting, and I'm super thrilled to just get it. I want it. I want it really badly. I'm half tempted to pre-order it after this video, to be perfectly honest with you. I want it that badly. It's been a rough road with Sonic. I've followed Sonic since... when did we get the GameCube? We got the GameCube in 2003, maybe 2004. And for nearly 20 years, I have been following this series as a fan for all that time. I've even bought the little Lego car for the Lego Dimensions add-on. I've bought figures. I've bought a statue of Eggman. I've bought so much stuff for that series. I saw both... I didn't see the first movie in cinema, I will fully admit that. But that's because I was like, you're damn right I saw the second. You're damn right I saw the second, and you're damn right I got every freaking reference in it. And I'm looking forward to 3. I think 3 will be fantastic. Or I'm really hoping it will be. Because the guys behind it really know what they're doing. And yeah. That being said, I did mention that there are some Sonic games I'm looking out for. I do want to pick up more of the Game Gear stuff. I do want to pick up some of the more obscure titles. Like Sonic's, oh god, what's it called? Weird PC education one. Because it looks horrifying. It looks horrifying, but I want it. Sonic's Learning Room? Anyway. Knuckles Chaotix. That's kind of the major one. I do have a 32X. I haven't played it yet, but I have a Polymega hopefully coming in the next few months. Expect a review on that. I will quite happily do one. And Sonic Shuffle. Yes, I know. Sonic Shuffle. A really bad rip-off of Mario Party that's just slow and awkward, and the AI freaking cheats, because of course it bloody does. But it's a Sonic game. I'm quite happy to get those 2 repro, though. I don't mind that too much. That's fine by me. In fact, I next time you see me talk about Sonic, maybe I'll have those as repros. We'll see. But yeah, this is a series I love, guys, and it's a. I know we're clocking in at like 40 minutes for this video, but I'm hoping it's worth it. I think next couple will probably be a bit shorter, just because I know these longer videos are a bit more of a slog to get through. But I'm hoping you enjoyed it. I'm hoping you enjoyed me prattling on about Sonic for freaking ages. I can talk for England and any other country about this series, and I will, damn it. But yeah. Anyway, thank you guys. That's me signing off.